Biomed Nexus, daily updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR Definium's DT120 met the primary endpoint of the Phase 3 Voyage study in generalized anxiety disorder, cutting HAM-A scores by 11.6 points versus 6.2 for placebo at week 12 p-1 from a single 100 UG dose. It is Definium's second Phase 3 win in 2 months, following June's Emerge study in depression. The second anxiety trial, Panorama, reads out in September. Clinicians flagged roughly 7 deaths and about 100 serious adverse event reports for Neurocrine's Vykat XR in FDA safety data per stat, and the Prader-Willi Syndrome Association issued a caution to families. Aardvark Therapeutics terminated its Phase 3 Prader-Willi trials under the FDA's full clinical hold, reporting $73.9 million in cash and a runway into late 2027. Boulevard Bio launched with $65 million from Deerfield Management, led by a BAFF and APRIL bispecific antibody in Phase 1 for IgA nephropathy. K2 Therapeutics named former Legend Biotech chief Yinghuang CEO with a $50 million seed from MPM BioImpact to in-license drug candidates globally. Executive Takeaway Tuesday's edition was about the left tail, 2 companies vaporized by binary readouts in one morning. Today is the right tail, and it is worth being precise about what it proves. A single tablet held a large effect for 3 months in a condition the world treats with daily generics, and it did it for the second time in 2 months. No infrastructure asset ever produces that outcome. This is why capital keeps returning to pipeline even in a week when the plumbing thesis has won every argument we have made. But look at what the winner bought with its win, a delivery problem. Every treatment means a supervised clinic day, a DEA scheduling action, and monitored session capacity that does not exist at commercial scale today. Success moved the binding constraint downstream from the molecule to the room the molecule is taken in, which is exactly what this week's manufacturing stories showed in a different costume. The 2 theses were one thesis all along, and tomorrow we close the loop. Read full analysis. CNS and psychedelics. Definium just did the hardest thing in CNS drug development twice in one summer. DFTXA single 100 UG dose of DT120, the company's lysergide, orally disintegrating tablet, cut HAM-A anxiety scores by 11.6 points versus 6.2 for placebo at week 12 p-1 in the 214 patient Voyage Phase 3, with a 43% response rate versus 16 for placebo and improvement visible by day 2. The effect size of 0.81 sits far above what the daily incumbents showed at approval, and adverse events were mild, transient, and mostly confined to dosing day. Analyst peak sales models published Wednesday cluster near $2 billion in anxiety alone per Biopharma Dive. The second anxiety Phase 3, Panorama, reads out next month, which suddenly makes it one of the most important readouts of the fall. Rare disease Prader-Willi patients watched their only approved drug and their leading challenger stumble on the same day. NBIX Aardstat reported that clinicians have flagged roughly 7 deaths and about 100 serious adverse event reports in FDA safety data for Neurocrine's Vykat XR, the first approved treatment for the syndrome's relentless hunger, prompting a caution to families from the Prader-Willi Syndrome Association. The reports do not establish causation, and Neurocrine says the drug's risk-benefit profile remains compelling. Hours later, Aardvark confirmed it has terminated the Phase 3 HERO program under the FDA's full clinical hold, with $73.9 million in cash and unblinded data to sift this quarter. A community that entered the week with 1 approved drug and 1 Phase 3 challenger ends it with a safety investigation and a terminated trial. New company money too. Specialist firms put $115 million into brand new companies at the starved end of the barbell. Boulevard Bio launched with $65 million from Deerfield Management and a pipeline built around immune reset, a BAFF and APRIL bispecific antibody already in phase 1 for IgA nephropathy, with data supporting quarterly dosing, plus a trispecific T-cell engager behind it. Co-founder Georg Schett is the rheumatologist whose immune reset work set the field's current ambitions. The same day, K2 Therapeutics named former Legend Biotech chief Ying Huang CEO alongside a $50 million seed from MPM BioImpact, with Endpoints reporting a roughly $250 million Series A in the works to in-license assets globally, including from China. Neither check is generalist money, and that is the point. The pro brief takes up what the specialist layer means below. Quick hits. Health industry and medical groups are resisting the administration's executive order remaking the childhood vaccine schedule per stat. Skylark Bio began a clinical trial of its gene therapy for genetic deafness per stat. Researchers questioned Exelixis's patent strategy around a modified version of an established cancer drug per Endpoints News. Tech-backed AI biotechs are pushing biopharma toward fail-fast drug development per a Biospace feature on how AI firms compress kill decisions. In today's full analysis, be sure to read the full article for all the details, including the complete voyage data table with response, remission, and safety detail, the regulatory road for an LSD-based medicine from next month's Panorama readout to DEA scheduling, a Prader-Willi timeline covering the VICAT XR reports and Aardvark's termination, Boulevard's pipeline table, and where BLVD101 fits in the IgA nephropathy race. Read the full breakdown, Biomed Nexus, Pro-In, today's Pro Brief. Why DT120's real bottleneck is a room, not a molecule, and how to size the session economy before the street does what the Prader-Willi double failure says about pricing safety risk after approval, and the 2 dates that decide what happens next. Specialist money is not strategic money, the distinction that changes what we count at the early end of the barbell, plus the catalysts to watch into Friday's full calendar upgrade to unlock institutional analysis. The market spent all week learning that plumbing beats pipeline, and then one tablet held a 3-month effect and reminded everyone why pipeline is the game worth playing. Both lessons are true at once, and Friday's edition is where they meet. What are you watching? Reply to this email. Read, full article sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals weekly sales intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more